Hey, what's up everyone? It's Emily and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do a quick little book review for A Magic Steeped in Poison. I'm going to keep this pretty spoiler free, so if you are debating about reading this book or you see that the sequel's coming out and you want to read this one first, obviously, because that's how you should read them. I'm going to keep it spoiler free so you can still enjoy the book as much as possible. Firstly, I just want to point out, just look at how beautiful this cover is. This was the first thing that made me take interest in this book. It looks like it's a work of art, right? Like, it's so gorgeous. And like the fish, the blossoms on it, the art, it's so beautiful. And the colors are so striking. It was just, I just knew I had to have it. But on top of that, I was really intrigued by the magic system. Quick little rundown of what's going on here, and please forgive me if I mispronounce anything. I'm gonna do my best. We have our main character, Ning, who is a young woman who lives in a village with her sister and her father. Their mother had fallen ill to a poison that has been spreading around the country, and her sister is now dying of that same poison. So in this world, there are people who can endow magic into tea. From my understanding, it doesn't have to do with the tea itself, but how it is prepared and the special ingredients that the Shenong Qi can put in it. That's kind of my understanding of how the magic system works. So for a limited amount of time, someone can have more courage, and that's endowed by the Shenong Qi into the tea. So the princess of this country announces a competition for the Shenong Qi, which are the people who possess magic. And whoever wins this competition will earn a favor from the princess, and our main character, Ning, wants to use that favor to save her sister from dying of this poison, basically. And when she gets there, she kind of realizes that this is a bit different than she was expecting it, and that this competition is full of secrets, backstabbers, and danger. Boy, was it. There's also a mysterious man that we meet along the way, and he plays into this story quite a bit as well. I'm not gonna say any more about the plot. That's basically what you can read when you read the cover, the back cover of the book. So I'm gonna leave it there. If this interests you, even a little bit, and you're just like, I don't know, yes, it's good, I promise. Well, I can't promise. Everyone has different tastes, but for me, this knocked it out of the park. I thought it was amazing. So for me, the things that I really loved about this book was the characters, first of all. I loved Ning as a character, but beyond that even, I loved every other character we met, whether, I loved them or hated them. The way they were written was just so well done. They were all very dynamic and interesting, and I really think that everyone added to the story in a meaningful way. I don't think that there was really a character that you could take out and have the story make as much sense. Like I suppose maybe you could, but I really do think that the people that Judy wrote into the book added to the book, and that can be really hard to do. So it was amazing. I loved the magic system, which, God, just the fact that you can take something like making tea and turn it into this really interesting and complex magic. And I believe it technically is counted as a hard magic system. Like, there are rules to it, and it's not just something that happens. Like, you have to give and take with a lot of hard magic systems. And I really loved the competition aspect of it, and I thought it was just different. And oh gosh, and I really love books that let me learn about a culture. And I know that this is grounded, it's a fantasy book, but it's grounded in ancient traditions of tea making. So I thought that was really cool as well. And as I've said before, I love when I leave a book feeling like I've learned something or experienced something new. And this book for me really did that. I also love the relationships that were formed in this book. Obviously, I'm keeping this spoiler free, and I'm not just talking about like a romantic relationship. I just mean the way that Ning experiences the other people and forms relationships with them. I just thought was really well done. I think that Ning is a really interesting character, and you know, she sacrifices everything for her family, and I think that, I don't know, I thought it was just it was very well done. Also, just the descriptions of the food and the way that the tea was and everything. I craved tea. I've said this every time I've talked about this book. I drank so much tea reading this book just because, you know, she'd be talking about it and I'm like, oh, now I need a cup of tea, because I don't know, it just felt like I was using all of my senses while I was reading this book. Like, I felt like I could smell the food they were eating, and I felt like I could taste the drinks that they were drinking, and yes, it was really well done. And like, when an author can have that sort of, can give me that sort of response to their words, like, for me, that's how I know an author has done a really good job bringing me into their world. I also think it was nice that this was based in an Asian culture, which is very different than a lot of fantasy books that take place in kind of a Western European age. And, you know, this isn't swords and dragons and stuff like that. Like, this was just its own thing entirely. And it was really refreshing to read a fantasy book that wasn't based in a Western civilization, I guess. It reminded me of Avatar in some ways, but to be fair, like, there isn't a lot of other Asian-based fantasy media for me to base it off of that I've been able to experience enough to feel like I can talk about. So I guess I would say that is like, that's kind of what I envisioned when I was reading this book, but it's also based in a lot of actual things. I will say, on top of everything I've already talked about, I really loved the political intrigue, which is kind of funny because usually political intrigue doesn't interest me when I read books, but I was actually really invested with what was going on in this story and the people involved, so that was really cool as well. I suppose if I had to say, you know, one thing that wasn't my favorite, it would be that the beginning was slow, but I feel like that's every single fantasy book. You know, like, we're setting up this world, trying to understand who is who, what's going on, so I guess that's kind of expected. But I really think that once the book gets started, like, it's kind of off to the races, and I wouldn't call it a fast-paced book. Like, I don't think this is like boom, 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 boom. It's not like a thriller, but I do think that, you know, we were going places, there was stuff happening in every chapter, and yeah, I just really loved it, and I thought it was great. So if you can't already tell, I gave this book 5 stars. This is definitely, so far, one of my favorite reads of 2022, like, without a doubt. And the sequel is coming out this year, I think like in August. So if you are interested at all in reading this book, read it now so that you can read the second one. And if you've read it, please let me know your thoughts down below, because I don't know anyone else who's read this book yet, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm curious to see what other people think as well. Like, it's so beautiful. That is it for today's review. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you could give it a like and subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.